Welcome to Be in the Garden, Be in Nature. I trust you are well. I certainly am. Thank you so much for joining me here in my garden. As I said to you in one of my last videos, my plan today is to plant some of these out and to also do up some window boxes. So I will aim to give you the list of the different plants that I have here. But this one I think maybe you might be able to recognise here. This one is echinacea, but I do have others here such as the geranium. Okay, so this video is going to be about showing you some of the plants, but also what I'm going to put in my window boxes. Join me. So here I have some window boxes. In fact, I did a video, if I'm not mistaken, on this past window box. I have here some Bergenia and some comfrey that I put in one of my previous boxes, but I also added in here for the winter. I also put in some crocuses or croci, and what I'm really trying to do is just jazz them up a little bit. Okay, so this is one of my previous window boxes that I've had, and I just took out some comfrey from along the garden and put them into this box here, and they've done very well. I must admit to you that I find the cost of window boxes can really add up quite significantly when you added all these different colour plants and things. And so I actually like just the contrast of the white. I've got white planters with the green foliage, and then periodically different flowers pop up. In this one, I have got some crocuses, yellow crocuses that come up in the early spring time. But oh, here's a lovely bee that's just come to visit. But I do find that the cost of flower boxes can really mount up, can really add up. So what I've chosen to do is really use some, when I say inexpensive, they all add up, there's no question about that, but I like to use some simple plants and just foliage. And all I'm looking for here really is just some evergreen foliage. So today I'm just going to be planting out my window boxes with some begonias. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so what I've got here are the begonias, and some of the lower leaves are a little bit dry, but this plant here is an evergreen, and it will also produce some little spears of tiny little flowers. They do come in different colours, but mostly on the pink ranges. And so I'm going to be adding those to these window boxes. And it's just a way for me to be able to have some evergreen colourage in here, but without the huge expense. You know, one of these plants, you'll see I'm going to be able to divide it into lots of different parts and plant it out. And I might still actually get some of the comfrey in between, but that's what I'm planning on doing today. It's just one of the tasks I plan to get done. I could also maybe later on, it won't be today, however, you know, underplant this with some bulbs. So I might even try and get some spring flowering bulbs, such as tulips, to plant underneath here, so that when it comes to springtime, in addition to the evergreen, I will have some bulbs. But I'm not doing that today. I'm literally just planting this out. So let me show you. Again, it's a good idea just to squeeze the base of the flower pot and loosen up some of the soil around. There are some dry leaves here, the base. I'm just going to remove those and put those into the compost. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer because you can see what the base of this plant actually looks like. So you can see here that the plant has some dry foliage. I'm just going to dig those out. But you can see how it slightly divides. In fact, these remind me of pok choi. Do you recognise that vegetable? It's I'm not sure if it's a Chinese vegetable, often used in Asian cuisine. It reminds me of pok choi. Can be eaten raw, pok choi, not the begenia, and used a little bit like cabbage, really. But anyway, back to the job in hand. Just removing some of the old dry foliage, which will be added to the compost. And then here you can see clearly possible areas for dividing this plant. You can see them And so what I'm going to try and do is, I could plant the whole thing in, mind you, but I want to actually give it space. So I have just used my hands and split that out. So in fact, one of them has, I'm not worried about this. I think they will still regrow, but I have split that in two, my little fork. I may need to take some of this soil out. It looks quite full. Let me get a container. Okay, I can put some of the surplus soil in here. Let's see if I can get organized. Here are some of the bulbs I planted. So I want to be careful not to remove those, but I'm just going to remove some of the surplus soil for now. It's like a treasure hunt. I have to be honest, when I first started gardening, which was many years ago now, probably about 20 years ago now, 17, 20 years ago, I used to worry that I would run out of things to do in the garden. And now it's a challenge. So it is a breezy day. Now it's a challenge keeping up with work that needs doing in the garden. But the joy I get from being in the garden is priceless. Right, so let me just see if I can. Right, you know I'm having a fight with this flower pot, don't you? The sun's coming out now. We've had the most peculiar weather this summer. Absolutely. I think the spring was one of the, perhaps I think one of the wettest on record in the UK. Spring was one of the wettest on record, no question. And also cold, very cold. Um, but we're getting there. It is the height of summer now. We are in July. And we've had some good days, weather-wise. But we are still experiencing sort of peculiar weather. Right, let me get me another one on. So again, I'll just take out the dry. Take out the dry leaves. I could just stick a whole one in there, but I want to sort of give it room to allow it to be able to grow in its own time. If I put them in whole, then it just means it would have reached the fullness, the full capacity of the window box, and there won't be any room for it to spread. Besides, I may, in time, as I said, not in this video, find if they've got them available, some spring bulbs. It is a bit early, maybe around autumn time, a bit later, maybe around August time, I'll be able to buy some spring bulbs, but I might put some spring bulbs such as tulips. I love tulips. Is this the plant that's available in other areas around the world? Tell me, in America, do you have begonias? You find these growing a lot around, you know, let's just see if I can. Edges of a flower bed, for example. Ooh. Okay, so again, sort of created multiple plants from this one plant. They will bounce back. Oh, and speaking of bouncing back, I have to show you as well an area that I cut back quite significantly with the comfrey. And I did say in that video that without doubt and before too long that it would bounce back and grow and fill the gaps. I will bring you, I'll show you an update on that particular area actually today, so you can see just how giving comfrey is. Okay, I think we're there now, sort of squeezing it in. I think as well, wouldn't you agree that plants sort of have their seasons, and sometimes they don't appear to be appealing. This plant for me was never something I particularly liked, but I've grown to appreciate it over the years because it is a real simple plant, and I think maybe over the years they have created different cultivar or different species, different varieties of it. This one's got quite a small leaf to it, as you can see, but there are others that have a larger leaf. In fact, I can show you one that I have bought with the larger leaf, and that's going to be for the bigger one of these. This is my smaller window box, but I have got some longer ones, and what I will do is with the broader leaf ones, I'll put them in the centre and then have the smaller ones down by the side. So that's one box done. I'm going to get on and get the others done. Yes, I've grown to appreciate this plant. I have. It wasn't one that I particularly liked in my early days of gardening, but definitely my taste has changed over the years, that's for sure. And I think just like fashion, whether it's shoes or clothing, makeup, whatever it is that people like, indoor, you know, cushions and beddings and all sort of things. So irrespective, I think there are different tastes. You know, furniture, for example, and I think it's the same with plants as well. You know, there are some years where a particular plant can be very popular, and another time where they don't sell so well or they're not seen so much. I think I'm seeing a renewal of people liking this plant. But like I said, I think window boxes can become quite costly, and that's something to take into consideration, especially with the cost of living just about everywhere in the world. So I like this plant because it does give a lot, considering it doesn't need much fuss. It doesn't require a lot of fuss or attention. It really doesn't. You plant it and you pretty much leave it and it will get on and do what it needs to do. So that's it, just loosely planted. That's one of them. I have now got another, well, about another 7 to do, thereabouts. I thought I would just take a short break from doing the window boxes to bring you back to this hedge, which if you have a look in this video, you see I just trimmed this back not too long ago at all. And you saw how I removed a lot of the comfrey in this area. And just a couple of weeks later now, this is maybe about 2 or 3 weeks on, the comfrey has absolutely bounced back, just like I said it would. So comfrey is such a forgiving plant. It just gives and gives and gives. It is a plant that is, it just keeps giving in abundance. Absolutely it does. So I've got some of this comfrey in the flower boxes, as you saw, that I was just doing, but this I just thought I'd bring you to this area because I had spoken about it previously, where I was trimming back this hedge and pulled out a lot of the comfrey in this area. But as you can see, it has bounced back and filled this area in no time. Anyway, back to the window boxes. So that's the first one done. That's the first of many done. I'm just going to put them down here. Here's the next one. These are heavy. You've got to believe me when I say that. These are very heavy. So as before, I'm just going to remove some of the soil. Again, I've got some of the bulbs. I need to be sure to add those back in. Here comes the sun. Okay, let me see where best I can split this again. Ooh. Let's put it apart. Fit it into the box better. Oh, guess what? I've just got a waft of my jasmine that's just behind me. I can just smell that wafting in the air. It's gorgeous. Pull these out. Let me just show you the jasmine. It's smelling amazing. That's it, just behind me. In fact, you might remember I did another video about the canna lilies, which I've got back here. Let's see if I can put that video in. I've got the sarcococca, got the lavender, and the bees are just loving it. And this is what I can smell. A mixture of the lavender just here behind me, but in particular, I can smell the jasmine. And look, they're just opening up. And see, when that breeze comes, that's the freshest air freshener you'll ever smell. The smell of the jasmine. Absolutely delightful. Yeah, and they're just opening out, but I can smell them strongly already. They're lovely. Okay, so let me get back to that task of doing the window boxes. Over the years, I've had so many different plants that I've had in window boxes. I have lost count of what I have put in my window boxes, but I think experience, if you like, and mostly experience has taught me that I don't have to spend too much on all the different intricate flowers. I remember having, oh, I tell you what was lovely. What they call now California poppies. I remember having those in the boxes, and that's a lovely plant. If I can get hold of some of that, I might add that. They have these glorious bright orange colours that would easily pop in here and draw attention to the boxes. So that might be something I could add again in the future. But I've had so many different things. I've had cyclamen. They're more the winter sort of flowering plant. Yes, I've had cyclamen. I've had geraniums. But today I am choosing the Bergenias. Let's just see if I can divide that. Ooh, a little tug of war going on here. It's not. Possibly another piece. The mess I'm making. I want to tidy all this up as well. Another handful. There we have it. That's a back one. We'll soon spread and fill that box out, so I'm happy with that. That's box number 2. This is my old trusted wheelbarrow. I do read your comments, as you well know, and there's a lovely person who commented on how ancient this wheelbarrow looks, and I have to agree, and I absolutely love it. It's got holes in here now, so it's almost a drainage sort of wheelbarrow, and but this wheelbarrow has been so loyal. So still functioning, so I still have it. But let me just bring you a bit closer so you can see what the flowers of the begonia look like actually. So here, I figured it'd be better for me to do it in a wheelbarrow because then I can just wheel this straight to the compost. Here's the begonia plant, and I'll just bring you a bit closer in. You can see that on this particular one, I'll be sure to put the name of this particular one in the description or as it's being edited. Can you see those lovely bellflowers? They remind me somewhat of the flower shapes of the comfrey as well, wouldn't you agree? So these are just tiny little flowers. If you're in focus, let me just make sure. There they are. Lovely, lovely flowers. Lovely, sweet little flowers. Okay, so I'll just get back to my job. So the next box that needs doing. out some of the old compost. Place in the Bergenia. Never got enough space. Just backfilling where there are gaps. And some of the bulbs that were in here, I'm just putting them back in. And then filling out the gaps. I will water them just before I put them onto the windowsills. So these boxes are quite heavy, so I'll position them first and then water them in situ. Okay, it's another one done. Okay, and this is the one that's got the flowers, but they will all spring into flowers in time. Just put a little bit more soil around. That's it there. And there we have it. Another window box completed. Box number 3. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going, taking the ones I've purchased back here and using them to put in boxes. I'm just going to keep on going and I'll bring you back at some point to give you an update. So that's what I had in it before with the comfrey and a few bits of begonia. But what I'm going to do now is, because it's the longer one, I'm going to use another type of begonia. And again, I'll put the name down. It's begonia nonetheless, but it's got broader leaves, as you can see, way bigger leaves and a bit more burgundy in colour. So they'll be towards the centre of the long planter. And the standard ones on either side. So I don't know if that makes sense. The one with the darker leaves will be towards the centre, and then the ones I've been planting with all the others anyway will be on either side. So that's what I'm planning on this particular planter window box, which is a little bit bigger than the others. Okay. And I don't mind that there's comfrey in there, so the comfrey can mix in there as well anyway. I'm just going to, I might dig out some parts of it, but as you can see, it's quite sparse looking currently. And what I need to do is to get this looking fabulous. What I should really do is put that in the wheelbarrow, empty it out in there, replant it here. That's what I should really do. You know, when you're just trying to be awkward, you're just trying to make everything fit. So I definitely, this one I might plant whole. We shall see. Okay, this one here has a lot more dry leaves, which I'll be removing from the plant. Just loosening around. I want that to sit in the centre, really. Something like that. And I will have to remove some of the old comfrey. It's taken up too much space in this pot. I can plant these clumps of comfrey in different areas around the garden. So these ones actually, because the pot here is a lot larger, I'm going to plant these whole without having to divide them. So just the pot is, the window box is just so much bigger, that's why. Just back through. This bit, I'm going to remove some of the comfrey there, just to make space again. On this side. thing with gardening. Sometimes when you're doing what appears to be a real simple task, it soon takes a lot of time, number one, and then it creates sufficient mess. So I'm not complaining though. I'm not complaining. It's a joy to have the ability to be in the garden and to do what I do. But I didn't realise I was going to be so messy, really, is what I'm saying. I created quite a mess in it. But I've also created some compost. I'm refreshing the window boxes. I'm getting some fresh oxygen. I'm feeling the breeze on my skin. I'm out with the sun. So I am claiming my vitamin D, which we all know vitamin D is really a hormone, but nonetheless. And I'm creating these beautiful, albeit simple to look at, window boxes because they are mostly green, but these evergreens I'm loving. And it's just a way to still have beauty on the windowsills, but without having to pay too much for the flowers. But also really just to show you that a plant, which by many standards is quite a simple plant, can also still create something that looks as beautiful as this. Simply the contrast of the green with the tinges of burgundy on the edges of the leaves, and then the dark soil, and then in my case, the white window boxes. That in itself has created a beauty that if, for example, you don't have a garden, or you have a window box only, or a windowsill, or a balcony, then this could be another way of bringing nature into your space. And there's a helicopter on the plane above me, so hopefully you heard what I was saying. In the early days, I tried to do window boxes for each season, so something for the winter, then the spring, then the summer, and the autumn. Here in the UK, we do. Oh, little dust things by my eye. Um, we do experience the different seasons, but this one here, like I said, is just to create something beautiful. And for those of you perhaps who don't have gardens and you do have a windowsill or a window ledge or an area, a small area, you could consider getting yourself a small box. These ones I purchased, but you could upscale something. You could repurpose an old box, for example, and create a small space. This one here, I've done window boxes that contain edibles like wild strawberries, for example, and herbs. Thyme and mint, however, gets very busy. So actually, it's perfect to have those in a window box because then you can take mint and plants from the mint family can really grow and become, as they say, invasive. So rosemary or oregano or oregano, I think it's pronounced in other countries. You can put those in window boxes. But there I am. I've completed my task with the window boxes, and I thank you so much for joining me. And I need to get them in situation, and then I'm just going to water those in. But for today, thank you so much for being in the garden. Thank you for being in nature, and keep yourselves well. I'll see you in my next video. As always, do try if you can, just to show that you enjoyed the video and to help me be reached by other people. I'd so appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up and a comment. You know I do respond to your comments, so I really look forward to hearing from you. Take care.